Analysis of gate because electrical engineering. The results have come short time back, but in this video I'm going to present my analysis. So please watch it carefully and fully, so that you can gain some insights about the trend of gate electrical exam. And I have also compared it with, I am also going to compare it with the last year. So I hope it will be really beneficial for the viewers, the serious aspirants, so that they can get an idea how the pattern of gate, weightage of gate is changing. So let's start. I will cover the analysis in like subject wise and then overall difficulty level. I am going to present my views. So I am going to present, going to go by ascending order of weightage. Like the subjects we had least weightage in terms of marks will appear first, and it will increase gradually. And then I will be comparing the last year also marks allocated for the subjects. So the first subject this year which had the least marks was digital electronics. Writing it in green because the least weightage, that's why. We digital electronics have only one question of 2 marks. Okay. So the total marks was 2 marks only. That question was from, I think, product of sound, and some gates were given. I think some NOR gate or something was given. So basically product of sound had to be computed. So basically by applying De Morgan's law and all that, you could have done it easily. So that can be called, I think, moderate. Okay. Next subject which had higher weightage as compared to digital electronics was, I think, डिजिटल इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स के बाद आता है किसकी बारी है से क्या 5 मार्क्स से इलेक्ट्रिकल एंड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मेजरमेंट्स इलेक्ट्रिकल एंड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मेजरमेंट्स Electrical and electronic measurements had this time, I think, how many questions? One mark question and 2 marks questions. Total 3 questions of 5 marks. And difficulty level was moderate. Questions came from like basic power measurement and all those things. It came from power measurement, and another question I think was asked from power factor or something was asked, basically 2 marks question, and another question from measurements of 1 mark I think was from basic only, easy only, basic concept only. Electrical and electronic measurements 5 marks, 3 questions. Yeah. Next, coming on to the next important subject, it was this time it was electromagnetic fields, or EMF as we call it. Electromagnetic fields are also 5 marks. Electromagnetic fields, same configuration only, 1 marks and 2 marks. Question came from spherical coordinates, divergence or something was asked, I think. Another question came from basic capacitance of spherical capacitor, and all those things only. Basic questions were asked in electromagnetic fields. So yeah, for this also the level was, I think, moderate. Next, come to the next important subject. Three questions, 5 marks. Next important subject, let's move on to the next important subject. I think it was analog electronics. Analog electronics this time had 2 1 marks questions and 2 2 marks questions. So total 4 questions of 6 marks. The level according to me was quite tough. Because questions came from unexpected topics like MOSFET. 2 questions came, common source, all those configurations, and 1 small signal analysis question. That is not generally expected indeed. So in my opinion, it was tough. And in 2 marks questions came from like MOSFET 1, small signal, and op-amp also was good. And 1 mark question came from like op-amp circuits, buffer, that thing. So it was in my opinion tough because it is not expected in EE paper. So these are the lesser weightage subjects. Now moving on to the more subjects which are slightly higher weightage as compared to this. Next comes electric circuits. Electric circuits this time had 2 1 marks questions and 3 2 mark questions. Total 5 questions of 8 marks. Level was moderate. Questions came from coupled circuits, then different IV characteristics, nullator, one question was there, coupled circuits, basic transient, questions came from that top portion, DC transient, switching after RC circuit, those basic questions were there. So it was on the moderate side, I would say, because some questions may not strike, like nullator one all. So in my opinion, it was moderate. Coming to the next important subject in terms of weightages, I think control systems. Yeah. Control systems this time had 2 1 mark questions and control systems had this time 2 1 mark questions, 3 2 marks questions. So again, same configuration as electric circuits, 5 questions of 3 marks. Questions were on the moderate side. Questions came from Nyquist plot, then Routh-Hurwitz criterion, then state space analysis questions were asked from that. Then basic frequency response and all, as is asked in other years also. So it was on the moderate side, I would say. Coming on the next subject, I would say let's take the system is over. Electric machines we can take. Electric machines. Electric machines came 9 marks came from electric machines, 3 1 marks and 3 2 marks. So it was 6 questions of 9 marks. Level was again moderate. Questions are asked from synchronous machines, synchronizing any alternate to that question, what instruments are required and all. Then basic synchronous machine question, synchronous motor and all. Then DC motors question was asked. Then induction machine speed torque characteristics, VLF control, that was those questions were asked. So basic typical questions were asked, but in exam environment it becomes quite somewhat challenging to answer all questions. So in my opinion, it was moderate. Next, coming on to the next important subject in terms of weightage, I think it was power systems. Right. Power systems also had 9 marks, same as electrical machines. But configuration was also same. 3 1 marks and 3 2 marks. 6 questions of 9 marks. Level was again moderate. Questions came from many unexpected topics like load flow studies, in what UPS would be considered as what kind of bus, then Z bus matrix in case of fault, all those things. And in 2 marks question came from economic load dispatch, and I think one question was from equilibrium criterion, transient stability. So I think it was on the moderate side again. 9 marks, 6 questions. Coming on to the next subject in terms of weightage, as expected is, let's say, signals and systems. Signals and systems had 10 marks. How many questions? 4 1 marks and 3 2 marks. So 7 questions of 10 marks. And it was, I think, moderate to tough. Questions were from different topics like basic LTI systems, discrete and continuous, properties of delta function, properties of LTI systems. Other than that, convolution property, that product, convolution of two signals, if integrated, is equal to the product of their areas. That property will be used, and all those things were asked. Good questions were only asked. So I would rate it difficulty as moderate to high, to tough. 10 marks, 7 questions. Coming on to the next important subject, it was power electronics. Power electronics again had, I think, 10 marks, 1 marks, plus 4 2 marks. 6 questions of 10 marks. Level was, I think, this time moderate to tough again. Because questions were from somewhat unexpected, like 3-phase PWM, sine PWM was asked, basic converter was asked, SCR was asked, one circuit consisting of power MOSFET, 1 mark. So it was like distributed from the different topics in power electronics. So in my opinion, it would be moderate to tough while answering in the exam pressure. So 10 marks came from power electronics. Now the last 2 subjects left with are engineering mathematics. Engineering mathematics, as usual, the pattern is fixed for 1 mark and 5 1 mark and 2 and 4 2 marks questions. So 9 questions of 13 marks. This was also moderate to tough. Because questions came from some unexpected topics like joint probability distribution. 2 questions came, that too. It is not generally expected, na? Questions came from differential equations, then matrices, all those things, linear algebra, so complex variables. So it was distributed, but again, joint probability we don't generally practice, so it was, in my opinion, moderate tough, because the questions came from unexpected topics that are generally not practiced well by aspirants. Now, coming to the last subject, last but not the least, is general aptitude. This pattern is again fixed. 5 1 marks and 5 2 marks. So 10 questions, 15 marks. Again, in my opinion, it will be moderate. Some good questions came, easy questions from English and basic arithmetic, all those things. And some assessment reasoning based questions were there from, and then questions came from mean median mode, like statistics. Questions came from sphere, one good question was there. So geometry questions were there from similarity, based on similarity of triangles and all. So in my opinion, it was moderate, not that easy to answer all the questions correctly in the exam. So that was it. So summing up, we get 65 questions of 100 marks. Overall difficulty, in my opinion, would be moderate to slightly tough. keeping in mind the difficulty levels of different subjects, as I have explained. Overall difficulty in my opinion will be moderate to tough. And the topper's marks, as we all know, like it is around 80, just above 80, but generally it is not expected that the topper will get that much. But somehow he has managed. It's an exceptional performance in this paper because it was not that easy also, in my opinion. And let's compare to the last year if possible. We can compare. Like let's see the marks only. Digital electronics last year had 3 marks. And electrical measurements had last year 3 marks. Then fields last year had 5. Last year had 4 marks. And electronics last year had 6 marks. Same. Electric circuits last year had 7 marks. Control systems last year had 9 marks. Electric machines last year had, I think, 8 marks. Power systems last year had, I think, 10 marks. Signal systems last year had 11 marks. Power electronics last year had 11 marks. The rest, these marks for these are fixed subjects, 13 marks and 15 marks. So as you can see, the weightage was almost the same this year also. 10 marks to 11 marks, signal system, power electronics. Power systems also it got reduced by 1 mark. Electric machines got increased by 1 mark. Power control system got decreased by 1 mark. Electric circuits got decreased by 1 mark. Panel electronics same weightage. Electromagnetic fields increased by 1 mark. Electrical measurements increased by 2 marks, and digital electronics decreased by 1 mark. So more or less the weightage was similar to last year, GATE 2024 electrical engineering paper. And I presented my detailed analysis subject wise after analyzing the paper in depth thoroughly. आशा करता हूँ ये फ़ायदा होगा आपने अगर इसको देखते हैं तो इसमें मैंने एक सब्जेक्ट को बताया और साथ ही साथ मैंने कंपेयर भी किया मैंने लास्ट ईयर के साथ, तो इससे हम लोग को ट्रेंड भी पता चलता है कि गेट में अभी क्या क्या ट्रेंड फॉलो कर रहा है, किस सब्जेक्ट कितना वेटेज है। तो इससे आशा करता हूँ कि जो अपकमिंग एस्पिरेंट्स हैं उनको बहुत फ़ायदा होगा अगर ये अच्छे से इसको गुड फॉर्म में देखते हैं, तो एक एक चीज़ को नोट करते हैं केयरफुली। तो क्योंकि मैंने हर सब्जेक्ट का लगभग क्वेश्चन डिस्कस किया है, जो मुझे क्वेश्चन मुझे याद है वो दिखे मुझे, और सारे से मैंने कंपेयर भी किया लास्ट ईयर के साथ, तो किस तरह से ट्रेंड इंक्रीज़ हो रहा है डिक्रीज़ हो रहा है वो मैंने बताया है। और ओवरऑल डिफिकल्टी मेरे हिसाब से जो है इसमें मॉडरेट टू स्लाइटली टफ, एंड सब्जेक्ट वाइज तो मैंने डिफिकल्टी लेवल बता ही दिया। मार्क्स वेटेज 2 मार्क्स, नंबर 2 मार्क्स क्वेश्चन, नंबर 1 मार्क्स क्वेश्चन, टोटल मार्क्स, नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस, सब कुछ मैंने दिखा दिया क्लियरली बोर्ड पे। तो आई होप दिस वीडियो इज रियली हेल्पफुल टू द एस्पिरेंट्स who watch it later also. Though if you have any doubts or queries, please feel free to ask in the comments, and I will be very glad to answer your queries or doubts if you have any. Now also in the live chat, if you want, you can ask. I will be glad to answer. If you have any doubts, otherwise I am good to close. Like I have discussed what I intended to discuss. जो मुझे बात करना था, जो मुझे डिस्कस करना था, वो मैंने पहले ही कर लिया है। अगर कुछ डाउट्स या क्वेरीज हैं तो अभी भी चैट से पूछ सकते हैं। आई विल वेट फॉर मे बी अ फ्यू सेकेंड्स, आफ्टर दैट आई विल क्लोज, आई विल एंड द लाइव सेशन, लाइव वीडियो। सो आई थिंक आई हैव कवर्ड almost all that is relevant to discuss for GATE 2020 as far as GATE 2025 electrical engineering analysis is concerned. So thank you, thanks for joining, and I think that we can close this live session, and thank you so much for joining. So that's all.